Shalom, friends. This is Akiva with Israel in 5, and I'm inviting you to take part in a very, very important campaign from Meir Panim to help millions of Israelis who are in need in general in their lives every single day, but especially as the upcoming Jewish high holiday season is approaching. And it's up to us to help these millions of Israelis celebrate these holidays with joy, celebration, and with dignity. There are all kinds of populations in great need. There are Holocaust survivors still trying to make ends meet after having gone through so much suffering and pain in their lives. There are IDF soldiers who are reliant on gift packages and food deliveries from Meir Panim, especially lone soldiers who come from other countries all around the world to serve in the IDF to protect the Jewish state, who don't have the family in Israel like other soldiers do. There are 100,000 Israelis who are still not living in their homes in the north of Israel because of the constant rocket attacks from Hezbollah. They need our help too. And of course, the families that are living under the poverty level are struggling every single day and are wondering, how are we going to give our families, our kids, a joyous holiday season? Please go to Israel5.org/donate or click on the link below to give a donation. Every single donation will be doubled as a result of a very generous grant by the Steinberg Gift Fund. And this is the time to give. This is the time to act to make sure that after a very, very hard year of war in Israel against Hamas and the Gaza Strip, Hezbollah from Lebanon, that Israelis are able to celebrate this high holiday season with joy and with dignity. Give what you can and know that every single dollar of your donation will go directly to helping all of these Israelis in need. Thank you so much and all the best. Today is Sunday, October 6, 2024, and this is our weekly update on the ongoing war between Israel and the terrorist organization Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and between Israel and Hezbollah, the terrorist organization in Lebanon. Shalom, my friends. This is the Akiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. Tomorrow is October 7th, the 1-year anniversary of the horrible and dark day that fell on Israel just a year ago at the beginning of this war. It's very hard for me and for all Israelis to believe that we've been fighting this war now for an entire year. This is Israel's second longest war, just behind the very first war Israel fought, its War of Independence, which lasted for about a year and a half. This has been a very trying year, very difficult year, very challenging year. And of course, all of it started on Shabbat morning, 6:30 in the morning, which was also Simchat Torah, the Jewish holiday of celebrating the receiving of the Torah, the dancing with the Torah, celebrating the end of the Jewish festival season that started on Rosh Hashanah and lasted for 3 solid weeks. On that morning, no one thought that this day, this beautiful Shabbat day, this beautiful festival day, would turn into such a horrible and dark day, but it did. With the attack, the cross-border attack of thousands and thousands of Hamas terrorists coming into Israeli land, Israeli communities that bordered with the Gaza Strip. Dozens of communities were affected, were impacted, were invaded, and destroyed. And on that one day, 1,200 people in one day, most of them Israeli citizens, were murdered, were killed in cold blood by horrible and cruel Hamas terrorists. We know the story, and we're looking back as it's now a year to reflect on what this year has been, what it's been for Israel, what it's been for Israelis, what it's been for Jews around the world, and what it's been for supporters of Israel all around the world. On that day, October 7th, the war began between Israel and Hamas. It was not the first war that Israel had to fight against Hamas, but this has absolutely been its hardest, its longest, and most difficult. But at the same time, Israel released a strength and a force that it has never released in all of its previous wars with Hamas, because obviously of the unprecedented attack on its people, on its soil, on its citizens, on its communities. It was a very, very intense and catastrophic as well as chaotic day, as all kinds of forces as well as regular civilians, right, scrambled to try to get down south, to do what they can to help whoever they can, to go into communities, to be on the roads, to fight terrorists wherever they were found. And they stormed and they swarmed the entire southern region that borders the Gaza Strip on that day, some of them lasting days, some even a week, right? Staying in that area until they were killed or caught by Israeli forces. And while that was a very, very dark day, right, with 1,200 people being murdered, right, over 300 of them at the Nova Festival, a place where 5,000 Israelis came together just to dance and to celebrate life, right, in the open fields along the Gaza border, a few kilometers in, right, and families, Israelis were at home celebrating Shabbat, celebrating the festival, quietly and peacefully. Right? In addition to the 1,200 that were murdered that day, we know over 250 Israelis were taken hostage on the day from the Nova Festival, from their homes, from their bomb shelters, from the streets, from the roads, right? Including many IDF soldiers. This was absolutely a very dark day, the darkest day in Israeli history, and one of the darkest days in all of Jewish history. And at the same time, this was a reawakening for the Israeli people. On that day, something reignited in us. Right? If you remember the entire year before, there was a lot of religious and political tension in Israel, a lot of inner fighting between this side and that side, religious and secular, right wing and left wing. On that day, we all woke up and realized we were one people with one heart. And we need to fight this evil enemy of ours together with one heart as one people. And that's absolutely what happened like that in a second. Right? The previous year, people wondered, how are we ever going to get over this? How are we going to get over this split, this divide? Well, unfortunately, it took such an attack to wake us all up, and those divides disappeared. Those splits were healed, and people got together from all angles and all parts of Israeli society with one mission, with one focus, to fight this war, to support the soldiers, to support, all of the evacuated families from those communities that survived that horrible terror attack, right, but now had no place to live, no communities to live in, right, as either they were destroyed, burned down, or just too dangerous to live in. Right. And on that day, something very, very powerful happened. You saw all kinds of campaigns and drives for clothing, for supplies, for soldiers, equipment that they didn't have because there's so many, 500,000 Israelis were drafted, right, in those first days of the war to come and help, right, to protect this out, to fight the terrorists, to go into Gaza eventually, right, and fight this war until the end, until Hamas was completely dismantled. Now we're still fighting this war, but Hamas has been not yet completely dismantled, but they have been dealt a severe blow, right? Thousands, if not tens of thousands of their terrorists, of their members killed, right? Their infrastructure destroyed, their headquarters, their bombs, their arsenals completely destroyed, right? Their leadership taken out. The head of Hamas was assassinated this past year, right? And their abilities to fight the way that they used to, almost completely gone. And we are almost at a place where we can say that Gaza is a complete victory for Israel. We're very, very close. Right? And of course, we know that now our focus is on the north, though it's been part of our focus this entire year because Hezbollah, let's remember, started attacking Israel with missiles and rockets and drones on October 8th, the very next day. And we've been dealing with that front of this war since October 8th. Right, with civilians and soldiers being injured and killed, communities being attacked, communities being evacuated, tens of thousands of Israelis in the north having to leave their homes, and they still haven't returned. Right? And we know in the last couple of weeks, things have shifted, things have changed. Israel has gone on the offensive like it has not gone on the offensive in this war against Hezbollah to date, ever. And on some level, we can say that Israel hasn't gone on the offensive in this kind of way in years and decades, maybe possibly ever. Right, carrying out unprecedented attacks on terrorists, on the leadership of Hezbollah, including Nasrallah, the head of the terrorist organization itself. Incredible things have been accomplished in the past couple of weeks, and Israel, we can say very clearly and very confidently, has regained its strength, regained its pride, right? Though we can never make up for what happened on October 7th. That will always remain a dark day in our history. And those who we lost, those who were murdered in cold blood, we can never bring back. And we're still working on getting back about 100 hostages, still working to get them back. These are things we can't change, right? But we can change, right, is what we do moving forward. And the IDF and Israeli citizens and civilians have done exactly that, right? Saying that we're going to be strong and we're going to fight this evil, right, with strength and with pride and with a fierceness our enemies have not yet seen to date. And they're getting the message, right? Iran is shaking in its boots. right? The leadership is going into hiding, right? These are incredible times. So when we look at the whole past year, we do see a lot of darkness. We see a lot of soldiers falling in Gaza, over 300 soldiers falling, right? In the war, in the battles in Gaza. Horrible losses, right? These families will never be the same again. And at the same time, mixed in with that, incredible emotions of inspiration and pride, right? And feelings of real strength. So a lot has happened this past year. And as we get ready to commemorate the 1 year anniversary, right, of October 7th, we have all of these emotions in our heart. Right? We hold them all. It's not easy, but we can do it. And once again, as I always like to say, I thank you, we thank you for all of your prayers, your thoughts, and your support throughout this entire very challenging year that Israel has gone through. And we hope to see very soon the end to all of our enemies, right? And peace and security restored to all Israelis. Thank you so much, and be well.